Me, guess what? I understand human nature. You see, I understand that as soon as I tell you what you can never do, that is exactly the thing that you're going to want to do the most. As soon as I tell you that you can never have another potato chip for the rest of your life, then it's only going to make you want that potato chip even more. Recently, we released a podcast called The High Status Mind Trick. And I just discussed ways that you can kind of trick your mind into thinking about junk food and fast food as low status and healthier choices as high status. So, this podcast is going to be a follow up to that original video. It's going to be a direct tie into that. So, I want you to, sit tight, give it a listen here. We're going to be trying to help all of you people out there who struggle with eating too much fast food and too much junk food. I'm going to offer you a challenge. I'm going to offer you 4 different ways that you can begin to change your dietary habits so that you move away from those unhealthy fast foods and junk foods. So I want you to stick with us here. We're going to jump right into this. Of course, before we get started, my name is Mark Johnson, your fitness ambassador from Bounce Pep and the youngest son of Bill Johnson. Now, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. Also, please hit the like button right now. If you do that for me, I'd really appreciate that. And let's just jump right in. For a lot of people, the reason that you enjoy fast food and other junk food so much is because that is what you have been accustomed to eating. Let's just be clear about that. A lot of folks grow up eating a lot of fast food and junk food. And so that is what their palate favors. Okay. Your taste buds tend to favor those kind of flavors because that's what you've been eating for so many years. So, if you have that problem, it doesn't, you're not like unique in any way. A lot of people have that problem. Okay. So just, just join the rest of them because you're in the same boat. But with that said, there are some ways you can overcome this problem. And I'm going to give you a different approach to this. The way that I think about this problem is a bit different than maybe some of the other approaches that you've heard about or maybe even tried. And so I want you to hear this out and then think about whether or not you think this approach will make more sense for you, just in terms of, how to think about, ways to upgrade your dietary habits. One of the things that you've heard me say if you've watched my channel for any amount of time is that you cannot outwork a poor diet. So let me reiterate that here now. You cannot outwork a poor diet, okay? And so what that means is no matter how much you work out, if your dietary habits are poor and if they're, quite frankly, just egregiously unhealthy, it's going to catch up to you eventually. Even if you have a good physique and you look good on the outside, a poor diet actually will catch up with you. You'll become sickly, younger than you anticipated. You'll find yourself having to take medications and whatnot. And despite looking good, the fact of the matter is the inside of your body won't be feeling good because of the poor diet that you've maintained for so many years. So that's why you need to get not only on top of your training regimen, but also on top of your diet. It's a pair, it's a set, and you can't have one without the other and expect to be successful. So with that said, the question that we're going to ask, this is a straightforward question, okay? Straightforward. And it's simply that, how can you reduce your cravings for fast food and other junk food? That's the only question we're trying to answer here today. Okay. Of course, a lot of people have problems with solutions because I think people, what they do is they turn to dieting. Now, dieting, I think one of the real challenges that people have with dieting is that ultimately in their heart of hearts, people see diets as temporary and optional. And so what happens is over time, that temptation creeps in, those cravings creep in and they just become unbearable. And you know what you do? You fall back into those old eating patterns and, the diet just goes poof up in the air And, you go back to being, if you were, I don't know, however many pounds overweight, you go back to being that, you go back to being out of shape. And, you just revert back to what you were doing before you even started trying to make any difference. So what we want to do is get out of that pattern. Okay. So my approach is not to focus on dieting. Okay. Because I think that dieting, again, it encourages you to, look at it as just something that's just optional for your life. And I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is I want you to focus on your palate. Okay. This is all about what you perceive as being delicious when you put it inside your mouth and on top of your tongue. That's what this is about. What do you perceive as being delicious? Okay. Exposure. What you were exposed to makes a huge difference in your preferences. So let's just take an example that's not really related to diet or fitness exactly or directly, but we all know about booties. Guys, you know about booties. And if you're from the United States or Brazil, maybe a country in Africa where women are built like that, where they have, shapely booties, then you tend to be attracted to booties because that's what you're exposed to. And, you go to these countries like Brazil, they say bunda, right? Bunda is booty. And, you hear songs about bunda. I mean, just songs about booties. The same thing in the United States. We've all heard songs that men write about women's booties, like an entire song about a woman's booty. And it's nothing unusual. But I live in Japan, and I can tell you that in Japan, booties are not a thing because women are not built like that. Because women are not built like that and Japanese men are not exposed to shapely booties, their booties aren't really on their radar. They don't prioritize a woman's booty when they're evaluating her looks, basically. Whereas in some of these other countries outside of Japan, booties are much more important because that's what men are exposed to. And so the same thing goes for your diet. A lot of times, what you have been exposed to, over years and over the course of your life really affects your preferences. Let me give you an example. We all know fast food joints like, McDonald's, Burger King, the usual suspects, right? And what they do is, remember when you were a kid and you'd see like the commercial, like a McDonald's commercial or a Burger King commercial, and there would be like a toy. And there will be the Happy Meal or the Fun Meal, the Fun Set, whatever they called it. And, if you showed up, at Burger King or McDonald's and you got the Happy Set or the Happy Meal, you would get this toy. And then, and not only was it one toy, it was like a collection of toys. And so every time that you went back and you got a Happy Meal, you always had the chance of getting a different toy. And so when you were a kid, these fast food companies, they would build this sense of excitement and anticipation about, the experience that you would have when you went there, right? And so that's how they would hook kids on these fast food, burgers and chicken McNuggets and, just all the foods that really aren't any good for kids. But again, the kids were going because all the anticipation that they felt about getting their hands on the toy, that is what was pulling them in. And of course, parents can't say no, kids are begging for it. And as a parent, I've been in a situation, sometimes you're a bit, overworked, or maybe you're just a bit hurried and fast food is there. It's convenient. It's very quick. Take the kids in, put in your order, wait 2 or 3 minutes, bada boom, bada bing, they have a hot meal. Okay. But let's not forget that that's not, it's not the best, way to eat. And it's not a great eating habit to be teaching our kids or to be passing on to our kids. Okay. But, in a nutshell, that's what they would do, is that they would associate their brands and their products. These fast food companies, they would associate their brands and their products with feelings of fun and anticipation. And so even as an adult, what happens is you stop wanting the toy, probably around 12, 13 or something, you don't want a Happy Meal anymore. But you still have that association somewhere in the back of your mind of anticipation when it comes to like fast food and junk food. So what we've got to do is we've got to reset your palate. We've got to reset your sense of what is delicious and what is, less delicious. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get you to start favoring and savoring fresh flavors and healthier foods. Let me say that again. I want you to start favoring and savoring fresh flavors and healthy foods. All right. Doesn't that sound great? So what we're going to do is we're going to replace these tastes that you are accustomed to, that you get from fast food and that you get from junk food. Okay. We're going to replace those flavors with healthier flavors, with flavors that add years instead of taking away years from your life. All right. Now, the key to why this works is because guess what? You don't have to give up fast food and junk food for the rest of your life. That's not what I'm saying. This is not about deprivation. Okay. And let's be honest, if you spend any time on YouTube or, reading the internet or anything, articles on the internet, you've got so many people telling you, do not eat this. You can't eat that. You shouldn't eat this. Never eat that. Eat this. Don't eat that no matter what you do. And me, guess what? I understand human nature. You see, I understand that as soon as I tell you what you can never do, that is exactly the thing that you're going to want to do the most. As soon as I tell you that you can never have another potato chip for the rest of your life, then it's only going to make you want that potato chip even more. So what I'm telling you right now, just so there's no misunderstanding, guess what? You can still eat potato chips. All right. You can still enjoy ice cream. You can still have a Big Mac. If you want a Big Mac, you can still do that. Not telling you what you can and cannot do. Okay? You're a grown man, grown woman. I know that you're going to do exactly what you want to do. So what we're going to focus on instead is reducing your cravings for those things so that you don't want to eat them all the time. We're going to do that with a few challenges. Now, you're going to have to go to www.bouncepep.com. And all you have to do is download this document, and it's going to explain more specifically what each challenge is. Okay, but there are 4 challenges. And the beauty of this is that all you have to do is pick one challenge. And the challenge is going to require you to give up. You're either going to have to give up one poor habit and replace it with something else, or you're just going to have to start one new good habit. Okay. So it's going to be one of those 2 things. And you're going to have 4 different challenges to choose from. And each challenge only lasts 2 weeks. So you've only got to maintain this new dietary habit for 2 weeks. Okay. And so what I'm doing is I'm making this an attainable goal. Each one of these challenges has an attainable goal. It's not, it's not some mountain that you look at it and you just think, oh, I can't overcome this. Like, it's only 2 weeks. All you've got to do is prove to yourself that you can do it for 2 weeks. And then after that, you can take stock of the results and decide whether or not you want to extend that same challenge for another 2 weeks or another month or whatever you choose, or you may decide to actually select one of the other 3 remaining challenges and try one of those. But you only have to do one challenge at one time, and each one is only 2 weeks at a time. So just imagine a drum roll playing. The 4 challenges are: number 1, the water challenge. Okay. Number 2 is the fruit challenge. Number 3 is the salad challenge. And number 4 is the clean challenge. And what I want you to do is go to www.bouncepep.com, download the short document that explains what the challenge is and all the stipulations for being successful in each challenge. And then I just want you to try one of those. I want you to pick the challenge that you think is right for the one that is most important for you to overcome right now. I want you to go download that document, read up on what those challenges are. And if you have a problem, if you have several problems and you're not sure where to start, all you have to do is just pick one of those problems that you feel is most important to start, chipping away at right now. Okay. And then pick the challenge that'll help you do that. So with that said, again, this has been Mark Johnson, your fitness ambassador from Bounce Pep and the youngest son of Bill Johnson. I want you to be successful. You cannot outwork a poor diet. You cannot outwork a poor diet. Okay. Go ahead, take me up on this challenge. It costs you absolutely nothing. Just go to www.bouncepep.com, download the document, and just start doing the challenge. It costs you nothing. Okay. So with that, I'm going to get out of here and we're going to talk to you again next week. You guys have a great day.